Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another casted domination showdown. It's going to be the forces of Kislev led by a Boyar facing off against Kairos Fateweaver. And we're going to be continuing on our crusade of trying out unorthodox builds and units. So here in the back, we do have the Ice Guard, and these ladies, I'm certainly starting to come around to them. I think they're actually quite good in a couple matchups, and one of the main reasons why the sword variant is very good is because one of the main modalities that demons have for shutting down missiles is sending Furies at your missile pieces, right? Well, Furies are infantry sized, and Ice Guard with swords will absolutely dunk on Furies in combat and then return to shooting and barely take any casualties. They're very, very resilient. On top of that, they also do magic damage, so many of the demon units which have physical resist, they're going to be surpassing that, and honestly, they're just pretty damn cool. And if you have to get them on an objective, this is like something that I think Shades might come into play with. Like, they can get in and wrestle objectives from like chaff infantry very quickly, so I actually think there might be a little bit of teeth to these units. So 2 light war sleds, which have been massively nerfed. You can see the weapon strength and their mass and everything like that. So now, in the future in my tournaments, we're not going to be having any restrictions on light war sleds. The rest of the front line is going to be Kossars. With 2 Ice Guard in the back, 2 sleds, we have 1 unit of armored Kossars moving up to the side objective. And the Boyar actually has a pretty cool axe. If you guys haven't seen this, he's pretty badass. He's like eating Tzeentch magic to the face, just walking through it like an 80s action hero. But he does have the Axe of Tor. So this has 100% armor piercing damage, so it really can wreck like Forsaken and things like that if they're standing in a bunched formation. For our caster, we're going to be going for a Tempest caster who does have Blizzard, as well as the, I think the other spell is Biting Wind, which is like kind of a wind spell. Now for the forces of Tzeentch, it's going to be Forsaken spawn with the Blazing Squealers and Kairos up in the sky. Chariot's just going to be drifting about the side of the formation. Their shooting is still very good. I think that the Kislev Chariots are going to be a staple of many matchups, but they're not something that like you want to just spam like 6 of anymore. I don't think that's going to be as effective, but again, once we host a couple tournaments without restrictions, we'll be able to see that a little bit more in detail. So just some light harass here on the flanks as the Tzeentch army shoots in, and what I love so much about Battle for Itza is it basically just feels like a land battle, right? Like, we're here in a land battle, but there's capture points. So yeah, it's kind of a cool one. I hope to see more of those as we do get a little bit further into the summer in some of these further patches here. Now, the Forsaken of Tzeentch, obviously they're a big problem. They could tear through many of my Kossars, so we're going to be getting a lot of focus fire. You can see one of the Tzeentch units really gets hammered here, while my Bear Sled's just going to be Tokyo drifting around the wings. And here comes the Kossar focus fire. So 19 missile strength on Kossars, Ice Guard, you have 27, and Frostbite. So look at the speed. They're actually down to 32 speed, very, very slow. These demons are just going to be getting pounded by the Frost of Kislev, which is very, very fun. And Kislev getting a buff to Griffin Legion, some of their other cav, it certainly feels like a much more fun game. So here, yeah, these guys are just getting absolutely wrecked. And we did summon in some Zargard in the back, so the Zargard are going to be intercepting the Forsaken, and they should make pretty quick work of these guys. Just look at these badass Slavs getting in there and battling against the demons. And the Winged Lancers coming in, baby, the Hammer and the Anvil. And here is the Hammer moving in, running over these units. Spawn moving in, of course, pretty good with their armor sundering, and I believe this is one of my spells. A big Pendulum coming in from Professor Pone's going to be nailing my Kossar, so unfortunately they do pay the Troll Soul. Pendulum is still very good. Biting Wind also goes through and applies a little bit of a punishing debuff to those units. But look how badly the Spawn are getting it over here. The Ice Guard just massacring them. While in the back, there was a summon of the Screamers who were able to jump on top of my ladies and doing a little bit of work, but the Winged Lancer is going to be coming back here, valiantly lancing into the back of these Foul Demons. And the Screamers have now lost their shields, and they're going to crumble very quick between these 2 relatively decent combat units. Sword of Tor going down, hammering onto the Forsaken here, while the War Sleds in the back are kind of compromised. Pone did summon in an Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch, which is able to roast one of my light War Sleds here, and the Blazing Squealers still causing problems, good in combat, and yeah, we need to shut them down. They're a little bit of a problem here. So Kossars, thankfully, are unbreakable due to the Kislev trait, by our blood, holding on firm. The great Winged Lancer Legion, making Poland proud as they ride around and hunt down these Foul Demons. Going to be moving on into the Screamers here, and the Spawn, and trying to remove those guys. But so far, the shooting from the Ice Guard has been pretty good, and despite being attacked and focused with a little bit of magic, the 2 Ice Guard units still are generating huge value, while the Chad Boyar fights in the pits, shoulder to shoulder with his brethren. See, this guy's been taking some notes out of the Karl Franz playbook. Franz is pretty much the epitome of that, right? If you've seen the cinematic trailer, he just is like in the front lines, like in the initial charge when the orcs come down the hill. And this Boyar certainly living up to the name here of Franz. So doing great. Able to cut through those Forsaken with the Zargard. One of my chariots is Shrek's pretty bad. I believe the other one's completely dead, so pretty even battle at this point. I've lost both my chariots, and my frontliners have been hammered. Many of my Winged Lancers and Cab units are in a little bit of a precarious situation, but we still have our missiles. These Ice Guard doing great. Kossar's moving up. Going to be trying to shoot these blues off the objective while the the Frostblade moves over here, and I did accidentally drop my charge over here. So like I attacked, and then I think something happened where I like gave them a halt order, and they were getting blasted. So you know I'll take that blame right on the chin there. That was my fault. Objective 2 is ours, but again, we're going to be making more of an effort to focus on the battle. The objectives will be a little bit of a tertiary focus on our replays from now on, unless, of course, we're playing in like some sort of a tournament or something like that. But Ice Guards with swords, once again in position to start shooting at the Blazing Squealers, which did heal with their Protoss shields, sending back some of my injured units here as the Ice Guard unleash a massive punishing salvo into the Blazing Squealers. And I'll tell you for sure, they are squealing as they do get pounded by all that missile power. The Boyar here in the center, still just going Chef Boyar RD and just taking these guys down. Beautiful, beautiful work. And yeah, he's a nice little presence, and honestly, he's super cheap. I think with his kit that we brought him at, the Boyar only costs like 1,300 or something like that, so even if he got sniped, I don't even know if it'd be worth the Tzeentch magic. Beautiful army ability from my opponent here. Nails his Kossars. Thankfully for me, though, some of the magic he was using was targeting the Kossars instead of the Ice Guard, so that certainly made it a little bit better for us. And here you can see the Exalted Flamer is frostbitten down to 35 speed, being focused by these ladies of the north. It's pretty cool how they actually draw their bows like so quickly and shoot these magical shards out. But we're going to be heading back there with some cab, trying to shut them down. Whereas the Griffin Legion was summoned in from reserve, and the Griffin Legion just glorious and golden. I can't wait to paint some of these guys in tabletop. I'm fairly certain they'll probably be getting a model in the old world, but yeah, pretty easy to paint actually. You probably just spray paint them some sort of a gold and then put a wash on it and just do the details, and you are good to party, man. But here, blue horrors of Tzeentch are being shreked pretty good by the Griffin Legion. Kairos is over here, but he's not like a world beater character that's going to really change this battle. Honestly, the Frost Maiden here, nice pendulum from Pwn does nail my Ice Guard, but the Frost Maiden here probably going to be winning this fight. Tzeentch is up on 2 objectives, though in the middle. Like I said, we're getting a little bit of dual purpose off the Ice Guard, so they were doing good shooting, but I figured we needed to clear the objectives. So these ladies are going to be getting into combat with their bonus versus infantry, and they are just going to be taking these demons to task. The fact that they do magic damage is so big, and you can see that the numbers of the demons are really dropping very, very quickly. Whereas the Zargard, as well as the Boyar here, really cutting through the blues. And for the most part, the Tzeentch army is crumbling across the board. You can actually see that we've kind of taken over the battle a little bit at this point. We do have the mighty Kairos Fate Weaver running away, being chased down by the Frost Maiden. And the Griffin Legion is going to be wrestling control of this objective as the Kossars do the same thing. Now, it looks like Tzeentch is going to be making a play for the high ground objective. So these Forsaken will be moving up there, trying to wrestle that, but we have some armored Kossars, and I did summon in the Dazen's Hearthblade. So these are the new RORs, which are actually very good against Tzeentch. They're good. They have fire resist, so all the Tzeentch shooting is going to be mitigated on top of the armor. And of course, they also have this nice aura, or ability, I should say, that does improve the vigor of nearby units. So summoning them in against Forsaken, they'll wreck them. Against many of the demonic units from other rosters, they'll be quite good. Anything that does fire damage is going to be less effective against them. So I think they're worth the price point. They're only a little bit more. So we do wrestle this objective, and we will see you guys once there is a little bit more action here on the table. So Tzeentch does continue its crusade down here to push on to the middle objective. I get him with a big Tempest though, so we sent in the Ice Witch. And you can see that with the Blizzard. That spell is actually quite good. So we lock him up with the Frost, and then the Cav, the Griffin Legion, comes in once again to really just show these foul heretics what is up. So there goes the massive damage. And up on the high ground, Tzeentch was able to get the Forsaken. Nice Pendulum coming in from Kairos. And I have to say, I'm so happy Pendulum got nerfed, because old Pendulum, from when the game launched, would have just straight up one-shotted these guys, and they would have paid the price. We got more blues moving on over to Objective 3, but that's not really going to be able to do anything. Frostmaiden's here. We do have some Winged Lancers going to intercept them. So this really is the epicenter of combat up here on the high ground, as the Hearthguard do get in there. So let's show you guys these dudes up in melee, up in the glorious cinematic angle. So they do move in with their bonus versus infantry and their great weapons. These Forsaken really aren't going to be standing much of a chance. Granted, you know, the Greater Demon here is a big problem, but they're still durable. He does magic damage, not fire damage. So, you know, we'll see what happens. They'll be able to take it for a while. They still actually haven't even lost a model, even after the Pendulum. And the Forsaken are rapidly losing HP and will for sure be bunker busted off this objective. And infantry have more capture weight here, so I am able to out-capture that objective. Army ability going down from Tzeentch in the back. Well, up on the high ground, kind of a little bit of a desperate situation here. They're just trying to get to the objectives however they can, but at this point we were ahead in the battle by about 3,000, so the Ice Guard with swords will be moving in to clean up, and look how damn cool. I honestly think they're one of the coolest looking units in the game. Yeah, the Winged Lancers moving in, couple Screamers in reserve, but they are not going to do anything to stop the armies of Kislev. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is for sure going to be GG. The Dazen's Hearthguard going to be cleaning up these Forsaken in the epic duel of fates. And it looks like the battlefield is going to be belonging to the forces of Kislev. To make their last stand here with some Flamers of Tzeentch while the Boyar still alive going. He's got that glorious haircut. Winged Lancers and Snow Leopard were summoned in, so the Snow Leopard's been hunting down Kairos, but pretty happy with this guy. It's not like he got a lot of value, like probably just close to 1,000, I would imagine. Yeah, you can see about 700 right there, but he did good. You know, he was a presence. He occupied Tzeentch quite a bit in terms of like being sniped with magic and different things like that and focus fire, and I was happy with him. Honestly, I really like this build. Thought it was fun. I scarred 2,300 value on one, and the other one got about 800, which isn't bad. It's not quite paying for themselves, but 23 on the other one. Because they can Frostbite the Forsaken, they can kill the spawn, they're good against, honestly, most of the roster. Chaos Knights could have been a little bit of a problem here for me. I didn't really have an answer against Chaos Knights, so I think I would need to mix in like another Snow Leopard instead of this Kossar here to make sure I can deal with Chaos Knights, because really I just didn't have anything. Or maybe a single Warbear Rider. Like I could cut something, get some Warbears in there. But yeah, it was a fun build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and also let me know your feedback on the new format. Domination does have the same feel as land battles in the beginning when you're fighting over the objectives, but oftentimes somebody can just get ahead and it's like kind of a perpetual steamroll. That does, of course, happen. So what I'm going to be trying to do in these battles as we go forward is edit to the points of action. So for example, if there's like an important play, or if it's really close, we're not going to need to do that. But if it does become more one-sided, we can just kind of skip to the points of contention and where something fun is happening and just kind of play it like that with a little bit more of a cinematic angle. So let me know your feedback. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. GG to the forces of Kairos Fateweaver and Professor Pone. And you have seen the Hearthblades here, as well as the screaming squealers, squealing something. Flaming squealers? I can't remember. Something squeals. That's all I know. All right, guys. Take care. See you next time.